What's up guys, today I'm going to show you something I found out 10 minutes ago. I have been banging my head for 2 straight days trying to fix this issue. You probably are sitting on Blender, you're animating your character. Here I have like the animations that I made and I just was so happy and I exported it to Unreal Engine to implement this mob in my game. And what happens, you import the skeletal asset, the skeletal mesh and everything. It works, they're scaled very nicely. And then you realize, hey, I have 3 animation sequences where I don't see the animation until you zoom in real far and you see that your animation is tiny, like absolutely tiny. And that is, I'm going to explain to you guys as the best of my ability why that is. It is because Blender uses meters. Blender uses meters, like its units are in meters, and Unreal Engine uses it in centimeters. I think that's the way, or other way around. I can't really tell exactly, but it's something like that. So what you want to do to fix this issue, I'm going to show you the workflow that I just found out, and it works 100% of the time. Very important that you follow along. Okay, here, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's go. You go to the scene, units. Make sure your unit system is metric. It should be by default. Unit scale, very important, 0.01. Okay, and now length, yours would probably be meters or something else, change it to centimeters. This is very important. You do this, okay. Step 2, we are going to export the skeletal mesh and the mesh to Unreal Engine before we export the animations, okay? Now, there's probably going to be some people who say, oh, but you can easily fix this by just renaming the armature and the animation will scale nicely in Unreal Engine. And for the people who don't know this, if your animation is not, if your character is not going to use any root motion, and root motion is basically like, hey, this, see, he's not in place. He's like going here. This is root motion. If your character does not use that, all you have to do is just rename this. Rename the armature to something else and it will work. Your animations will scale perfectly in Unreal Engine. But in my case, I want this guy to have root motion, and you should probably also do it this way because it's a better workflow for if you later will work with root motion. So what you want to do is you grab your mesh, click on your mesh. Why can I not click on mesh? Click on your mesh, control click on armature. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to layout actually. Make sure, I already pressed it, but press, this is very, very important, press Control A and click on all transforms. Now, what this basically does is make sure that your transformations have been applied and everything has been like 1, 1, 1. This is a very clean thing, and this will actually probably be the reason for you to export it quite well into Unreal. What you want to do, this is the workflow. You select your mesh and your armature again, export as FBX, and you, if you want materials on it, copy and click on this. Selected objects only, but we are going to select only the mesh and the armature. Make sure the scale is 1, very important. Apply forward, X forward, up, Z up. Apply unit use space transformation, fine. This is very important. Face. Yours will be set default to normals only. Click face. Apply modifiers. Armature, only deform bones. This is on by default. It's very stupid, but it is. Always deny this being on. Never do this or your animations will not work and your skeleton will be a mess. Animations, tick this off. We don't need animations in this first export. I'm going to call this tutorial 1. I'm going to export this to my map called Blender Assets. Now, exported it. I am going to import it. And where is it? Tutorial 1, here it is. I'm going to export it. So you want to export the skeletal mesh, import mesh, make sure this is ticked. Import animations is ticked off. And don't select the skeleton, it will make its own. Your skeleton will make. This is all fine. Make sure import the uniform scale is 1. Because you don't have to mess around with that anymore. We just fixed that for your entire life, bro. Import all. Now, let's see how big our mesh is. This is how I want it to be. This is the size that I want my blob figure to be. So I'm going to leave that there. And I don't have an animation. I didn't import it. Okay, so now we import it. Let's first export it. Now, what you do is you just select your armature and your FBX, export it. Here we go. And to just do the animation, all you do is click on armature. That's all you have to do. Now go down, click on animation. Always disable NLA strips, otherwise you get duplicates. I'm going to call this one Animations 1. And I'm going to export it. Let me just double check this. Yeah, okay. Leaf bones is off. That's good. Okay, now we're going to import this. Let me see where it is. I think I saw it. Animations 1. I'm going to import it. It automatically selects the skeleton that it's familiar with, which is my tutorial 1 skeleton. And we make sure that the import uniform skill is 1. And everything else is correct. So let's just import this. And we have our 3 animations. Attack 1, charge, and idle. I'm going to open my idle one. Look at this. It's imported perfectly to what you want it to be. Look at the size. It's exactly the same. You don't have to mess around with math anymore. You don't have to upscale it, downscale it by a notch. Your animations will flow perfectly. It will be aligned perfectly to the mesh. Now, why do we do this instead of just renaming the armature? I already explained it, but if you want to see it visually, I'm going to tell you why. If you change this, the armature, and you name it to something else, your animations will work fine. But there's a very big downside. Blender, into Unreal, the workflow automatically changes the armature name to root. This root is so important for root motion, and I'll show you exactly why. We go to this animation. See my character moving from the transitional position to where he ends. This is a root motion. Animation. So we're going to go into the asset details. We're going to enable root motion. And the line is gone because root motion has been enabled. See, if I disable it, root motion is turned off. If I enable it, root motion is turned on. Now, this basically means that if root motion is turned off, that means that if the character is done with the animation, it will snap back to its original place in game. The capsule, the collision capsule, stays here. And if you have it enabled, that means the character does the animation in game, but the capsule goes where the root is. And if you change your root name to something else, this will not work, guys. So always make sure your root bone is called armature, even for static objects. It's very important. Whatever you want to do, it's good for the workflow. So that was it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. I've been struggling 2 days, and I was like, nope, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it the moment I knew it. So this is the way how to do it. It's a clean way to do it. It's a healthy way to do it. And you should do it this way. I'm going to wish you guys a great day. And thank you very much. If you liked the video, if it helped you out, please leave a comment. It actually satisfies me so much seeing that people actually got help by this. Subscribe if you want to. Yeah, take care.